So we are going to give a couple more minutes just to see if any more people roll in. I know today is technically a holiday, so we may have a small group today. Today, we're going to talk about adding value, helping clients diagnose the problems that they experience with their hair, and then how to treat them. So I think one of the main points and something that's so important when we talk about value is that understanding the value that you provide will determine the amount that you can charge. And understanding what value looks like to each guest that's sitting in your chair is going to vary from person to person. So I think one of the most underrated things that really add value for clients is the way that we listen and how we do our consultations and the way that we make people feel. So I recently took a hair cutting class, and it was in Seattle. One of my friends, Lo, was teaching a cutting class, and Lo charges $600 for a haircut. And I was like, holy shit, that's a lot of money for a haircut. And after I experienced her class, I could see why she was able to charge $600 for a haircut. And I'm going to tell you that the way that she actually cut the hair, yes, technical, so important. Her education and understanding how the hair works and her providing the actual look that the client was asking for and creating the outcome was so important. But the way that she was present and the way that she actually treated the client that was sitting in her chair was what was the determining factor for being able to charge as much as she charges. So I think sometimes when we are doing hair behind the chair, we have a tendency to forget that sometimes clients only see us once, maybe twice, maybe 3 times a year. But we're in the environment and we're living the experience every single day. So for us, sometimes it can become monotonous and it can feel like Groundhog Day. And sometimes we as stylists can be bored and forget that every single person sitting in our chair really does deserve an individualized experience. So we're going to go over some things today that we do in our salon that provide value. We're going to go over really how to determine what the problems your clients is experiencing with their hair is. And then, of course, how to solve those problems for your guests. I think we have to understand that people are coming to us to solve their problems. It's not just about getting their hair done. It's so that they can be able to have, a better experience with their hair at home, or maybe deal or handle with something that is like happening with their hair. They need advice on how to handle that as well at home. So when we talk about different things that could be an issue for clients, hair loss, brittle hair, their hair brassing out, scalp and dandruff issues, scalp inflammation. These are all things that clients really need to understand, and they really need to know how to deal with these things for themselves at home. And that is what is going to build that trust with your clients. And that's what's going to keep them coming back to your chair, because they know that you are reliable and they know that you can answer the questions that they have. So that's a huge part of the experience as well. So Melanie has an amazing clientele. She primarily just does extension clients. And I think one of the things that she is really great at is providing an amazing experience. So Melanie, do you want to kind of dive into what your day-to-day experience looks like for your clients?
Yeah, so I agree with Patty. I feel like 90% of my guests are extension guests. And when you're dealing with extension guests, you really have to do more of an experience along with the service, because again, like extensions are a luxury service. So for myself, I'm taking less guests throughout the day and doing a longer service. So I get to the salon about an hour before my day, and I just set up everything so I can provide all like the little extra things for my guests to really create that service. So what Patty was saying earlier, I feel like the consultation is really important to create like that luxury kind of experience for your guest. So I feel like that's really important to be prepared so you can like give like that extra 10 to 20 minutes in your service too. So I
I
think
want to
that's really important.
I want to touch base on that too. I think people undervalue, and being prepared is underrated, because being prepared for your day is it's going to give you confidence, and it's also going to create a better guest experience overall because you have everything set out for the day.
Mhm.
So you've got your color pulled, you already have a game plan, your station is set up. You're not going to be rushing or feeling like you aren't prepared, which again can create anxiety and stress for you as an artist and as a hairstylist. And I think people can feel our energy. People can feel the experience that we're having as well. And that's something that is detrimental to your client experience. So getting to the salon early, I think, is really, really important. And again, I think it's one of those things that's underrated. But go ahead and continue, Melanie. I just
Yeah,
wanted to touch base on that.
I like doing that because then you can implement like the time, like, so if you don't set up, I feel like that kind of takes away like the 10 to 20 minutes out of your service. So then I can implement things like getting them like a beverage or doing like a little bit of an extra consultation, like what Patty and I were actually talking about before the meeting. We have extra tools like to be a problem solver. Like we were talking about like scalp health. Like we have like a little like scalp camera that hooks up to like an iPad. So then you can spend extra time doing that during your consultation. So I like to do being prepared and then adding little extra things during my service to create an experience. Cause like I said, I feel like when you're doing extensions, you really do have to create that overall um more luxury experience.
I think another thing that is really important, if we're going to go back to the consultation, is being present and actively listening to what our clients have to say. And then, of course, making them feel like they're heard. And I think that's something, again, that's underrated and is something that really doesn't take any extra time, and it's free. But really making sure that your client feels like you're present in the present moment and that you're truly listening to what their needs are is something that is really important to the client experience. I also think just like being kind and courteous and being one step ahead of your client. So one of the things that I always like to do is, and I know Melanie, you do this, you already have their drinks ready for them. You know what they're drinking when they're coming in because they're repeat guests, right? So like having that ready for them, having whatever it is that you know makes their experience phenomenal, set and ready to go. I think that's something that is definitely overrated. I remember I used to sit next to two stylists, and I was really big on customer service, and I was really big on doting on my clients. And because of the way that I treated my clients, I got a lot of salon clients to sit in my chair because they were observant of how I treated my clients. And it was seriously like simple things, like really, really simple, basic things. But they're all, and I always go back to this almost in every conversation, it's attention to detail. So my client would be sitting in my chair and they'd want to have a sip of their drink, and I would grab it for them so they didn't have to lean forward. And I would be like, oh, would you like, some of your drink? I would hand that to them, wait for them to take a drink, and I would put it back. I would clean the color around their hairline. You have no idea what a big impact that makes on client experience. And it's something so simple. Making sure that they don't have water dripping down their back or dripping down their face. Again, something that a lot of stylists overlook. The way that you brush the hair, making sure that you're gentle, even just explaining what you're doing and educating and talking about all of the things that you are adding to the service. So, hey, we're doing this treatment today. I see that your hair is kind of dry and it needs some hydration. So I just wanted to let you know during your shampoo experience today, we're going to be doing this hydrate treatment. And I think this will really help you style your hair at home because it's going to give your hair that hydration that I can see that it's lacking. And it's something that I think will make a big impact on the health of your hair. I mean, that's so simple, right? But a lot of stylists don't even go into detail on what they're doing or why they're doing it. Also, like Melanie said, we have, and this is something you can buy on Amazon, it's like $40. We have a scalp microscope. And it attaches to an iPad, and you literally can put it on the client's scalp and it magnifies it by, I want to say like 500 or something. And you can see their hair follicles, you can see buildup on their scalp, you can see if the hair is minimizing, and that has a lot to do with hair loss. So if someone's follicle is minimizing, that means that they're experiencing, or they're starting to experience hair loss. The hair follicles actually, like, it's kind of like shriveling up and dying. That's exactly what it is, right? So when we take the time to show clients and educate them on what is going on with their hair, it positions you as an expert. And people want to see an expert, especially if you want to charge a high dollar amount. For me and my salon, I want to have a really educated stylist so that they can charge the most amount of money, and that clients will continue to see them, and that they find value in what they're experiencing inside of my salon. And that all goes into attention to detail. So, if you are using the scalp microscope, do they have dandruff? Do they have buildup where you then can do like a clarifying or a detox treatment and say that, like, I see you have some buildup on your scalp today. Today, we're going to do a detox treatment at the shampoo bowl. And this seriously takes like not even 5 minutes. Literally takes 5 minutes to just hold this microscope on their scalp, and you can get a lot of information on what's going on with their hair. And then educating them, and then, making sure that if they have questions, that you have the answers, right? If someone's having a lot of breakage, like, what's your solution for that? And this all coincides with not only like the experience in the salon, but when we're having these things that we're diagnosing and the problems that clients are having, that also crosses over to your content and what to talk about on social media. Because if the people in your chair are needing that advice or looking for those answers, then people on social media are doing the same. And that's going to draw people to you. But I think client experience from start to finish is so important, and adding value is really important. Something as simple as waiting at the front door for them, if you have the time, and greeting them, like, that has a huge impact. Taking their coat without them having to ask you during the winter months, and then walking them back to your station. One of the things that I always talk about when I'm talking about the way you treat your clients. So I always say, treat your clients like you would treat a guest in your home or your grandparents coming into your house, right? Like, you're always going to be super doting. You're going to make sure that they feel cared for. You're going to take their coat for them. You're going to walk them over to, where they're sitting. You are going to be attentive, and you're going to be present, and you're just going to be on your A game. And I think sometimes we get really comfortable where we are, and we have to remember, when we get comfortable, that means we get complacent. And when we get complacent, that's when we lose clients. So we have to remember, we have to treat every single guest coming into our salon and coming and sitting in our chair. And we have to treat every single, even if they've been there 50 times, we have to treat them like they've never been there before, because that is how they should be treated, because they're still paying top dollar. They're still paying for you to provide a service for them. Melanie, what is your biggest advice when it comes to client experience and retaining clients?
I feel like, really, like what you said, like, not like overlooking a consultation if it's a repeat guest, because I feel like a lot of clients are like kind of afraid to speak up. So I feel like asking them questions and like asking them really what's bothering them, and not be I wouldn't say afraid, but like to be open to changing like your work and everything. Because I feel like a lot of stylists like don't want to do a consultation at every single like repeat appointment. And I'll even ask like my clients, like, what was bothering you, like about your hair from like our last appointment, like, is everything okay? Like, I'll even ask, like, I guess I word it wrong because I don't want to ask like if I did anything wrong, but just ask what's bothering them about their current hair, because I feel like that's a huge thing. A lot of my guests do compliment me about that, but I ask them like what they would like to change about their hair, because a lot of stylists, I guess, don't do that.
They don't. They just
So like
assume that they're
opening the
going to do the
door
same thing. Yeah.
to change, because I feel like a lot of stylists like do not do that with their repeat guests.
And I think too, and I want to touch base on this, like dealing with clients that aren't happy. And when they do have negative things to say, well, I didn't really like this last time. Building that trust that they can say something to you is really powerful, because a lot of people don't have the courage to share when they're unhappy about something. Melanie is very good at dealing with people who give I don't want to say negative feedback, but who give feedback that isn't always positive. So Melanie, how do you deal with clients who maybe aren't happy with something that they experienced last time? Which, by the way, can happen a lot with extensions, because extensions, I feel like, are a pretty there's a lot that goes into them, and there are things that people are very particular about when it comes to that service.
Yeah, I would definitely say, well, it kind of helps too, because I feel like a lot of extension clients like are trigger fingers, so it happens like over the phone. So we kind of have like a pre-made, very professional, nice text to send back to them. So I feel like that's huge, like already like just being like overly kind and like willing to like solve their problem. Because I feel like extension clients do just like whenever like one little thing that isn't really even a problem, they'll reach out. So just being like overly willing to solve the problem, because majority of the time with extension clients, like it's not really like a you thing, it's more of like they're not styling it like how you did it. So I think just kind of like taking responsibility and being willing to change it and not getting like offensive when someone like brings up that there's a problem.
Yeah, I think especially with like extension clients, like placements, bead tension, things popping out on the sides, like these are all common things that can drive people crazy. Sometimes the scalp feeling itchy. So I think, again, just being open and willing to share the and having empathy too, and understanding like, oh yeah, no, I feel that because I've experienced that too. So I think, being able to put yourself in your client's shoes is another thing that's very, very powerful. And sometimes one thing that can be really powerful for your business is going someplace and being a client and remembering what that experience is like, having to pay for a service again, because a lot of us don't have to do that because we get our hair done for free, or we have somebody at work that's doing it for us, or, we're in the salon environment all the time. We're used to our environment. So going someplace and getting a massage, or, getting your hair blown out at another salon, I think is really, really something that can be an eye opener from start to finish, from the receptionist to the way you were greeted, to how you were shampooed, to even being checked out, and the overall experience during the service is something that can really be an eye opener for you as a stylist. I know that I have a lot of salon owner friends who will go to salons all the time, just go to different salons and get blowouts just to see what other places are doing, and just to kind of like get a feel for what is happening in our industry and how clients are experiencing other places too. Melanie, what else do you want to touch base on when it comes to like solving problems and client experience and adding value?
I think like how to kind of like shift your mindset maybe to like up level your experience. Like I feel like I always help like the other girls do that. Again, like I think I always stress in the consultation, and I even think like the after service is really important, because again, like clients are always, I mean, I'm like not afraid to speak up, and I feel like I make my guests not afraid to speak up, but reaching out to your clients like 1 to 2 weeks after, even if they're not extension clients, I think that's important, because I feel like that's really not like a common thing that stylists do. So I think after the service, even kind of adding like nice little details to the experience is important.
Yeah, I think definitely opening up that line for communication by sending an email after the service is a great way to, again, build trust. That's what we're always continually trying to do. And, sometimes clients won't have the courage to reach out to you if they're not happy with something, but if you extend the opportunity, then they'll be more willing to share that something is bothering them. And I think when something is bothering them, or there is something that isn't perfect, it's an opportunity for us to be better. And it's an opportunity for us to refine and to retain the clients, and for them not to go someplace else because they know that we'll solve their problem for them. So I think that is another part of the service. And I think too, like one of the things that I see undervalued in our salon, going back to, diagnosing and treatments, I feel like the treatments in our salon are underutilized. I feel like there are so many great resources that salons have for stylists. Malibu treatments, we have tons of conditioning treatments, the scalp microscope, like that's something that I think is really undervalued. So I would, if you have a moment, to just look around the salon and look at all of the things that your salon owner is providing, and really see how you can utilize these things to make the guest experience and to add value and to make the guest experience exceptional. What is available for you to add value at this time? We have other things that we utilize, and I think they're simple. We have the lap desks for people who have to work during their appointments. We have, really good like coffee, and we used to have cocktails. We don't have cocktails anymore. We're going to do mocktails now. But having good beverages, we have snacks for clients. So if they're there for 4 or 5 hours, that there's an opportunity for them to have a snack. I mean, these are all things that are just enhancing the comfort level of the guest while they're in our salon. So that's another thing. How can you enhance the comfort level? We have warm towels that we can put around their neck during the shampoo or when they're getting caped. And it's something so simple, but people comment on it all the time about the warm towels. We have eye masks that like under eye masks that they can put on. I mean, there are so many things that you can really utilize to add value. We have little gift bags. We've got like these little scrunchies, silk scrunchies, which don't cost a lot. You can buy some on Amazon. They're like 50 cents. So I think really making sure that you are giving your all during the service and really adding as much value as you can is going to make you successful as a stylist. Melanie, do you want to add anything else before we end today's session? Today's going to be short and sweet.
No, I don't think so. I think we covered everything.
I think if you are watching this call, I think one of the things that you can do for yourself is go to another salon and experience a hair service. Just get a blowout, something simple. You don't have to get a haircut or color, but just something as simple as getting a blowout can be really powerful to see maybe holes and gaps, or even things that are bothering that you might be doing that you didn't realize clients would be annoyed with, or maybe you'll get some ideas on how to make the client experience better. And I think taking a look around your salon and seeing what your salon has to offer to add value, and what are some common problems that your clients are currently experiencing, and how can you solve those problems while the client is in your chair. So those are going to be the action steps I would like you to take after today's call, and really kind of thinking about like what a valuable experience looks like, how you can enhance that so that you can charge what you really want to charge behind the chair. Cool. Awesome. Well, we're going to end today's session. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out in our band group, and I will be seeing everyone next week.